You know, I read something the other day that said God is an artist and the universe is his canvas. The universe is where he paints upon, that's his creation. And I started thinking about, my own personal life and others' lives, that people that I know, people that are going through things. We all have situations that we go through in our life. And, if you ever notice, if you ever look at an actual painting, if you look at the painting up close, like with a microscope, or if you look at it up close with a magnifying glass, you'll notice that in the picture you see dots, or it looks ugly. It doesn't look like anything. It looks just like a bunch of a mess, of chaos. But when you back away from that picture, it starts to take shape and form, and you start to see the beauty in the picture. There's a picture there. So within that whole picture that you're looking at, when you back away from it, you see the beauty in the picture, despite it having all the ugliness in it, all the chaos in there. See, when we look at our lives, we don't see our entire life. We don't understand. We only see bits and pieces, like a puzzle of our life, sort of like those little pieces or parts of that picture. But you see, God sees everything. God sees the entire universe. He stands back and he sees and he says, wow, look at my creation, how beautiful it is. But yet we don't understand God's plan for our life. We don't see really where we fall into that picture, because we're just a part of a bigger situation. You understand? We don't see, although we're going through something, we can't appreciate what we're going through, because we don't see the final ending of it. We don't see the picture. We're not big enough to see that portrait that God has painted on the universe. He sees the beginning of it. He sees the end of it. So despite anything that's going on in your life, whatever chaos that's going on in your life, or difficulty that is going on in your life, remember that there's a bigger picture, that you're part of a bigger, you're part of a bigger reason. Because despite everything, all the chaos that's happening in your life and in other people's lives, when God stands back and looks at the whole picture, he sees beauty. We don't see that because we're not big enough to be able to see that. And I thought about that and I said, wow, it makes a lot of sense. People look at life, or they look at their own personal life and they say, wow, my life is bad, or my life is this, or my life isn't, I'm not happy. It's not going the way I want my life to go. But when you look at it from a different perspective, when you look at it from a larger perspective, you're playing a role in a bigger picture. So the good times in your life, the bad times or negative times in your life have a bigger purpose, have a bigger meaning. I said in another video that you'll never be able to appreciate life unless you go through, negative circumstances, bad circumstances. If you go through loss, if you go through tragedy, how are you able to appreciate life? Well, remember that all of that is part of that portrait that God is painting. Because at the end, there's beauty. At the end, there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger reason. There's more to the picture than what you and I can see. Remember, we're spiritual beings, and energy, spirit is energy, right? And apparently, according to science, energy can't be destroyed. So what I believe, and what I'm starting to understand, is that because we're beings of energy, we're part of God. We're eternal beings. We're eternal spirits. We come from eternity, and of course, when we leave this body, we go back into eternity. So there's more to your life than what you think. There's more purpose to your life. The Bible talks about life being just a mist, like smoke. It's there 1 second, then it's gone. That's how fast life is. When you look at eternity, eternity is forever and ever and ever and ever. I mean, in fact, eternity is so long that time doesn't exist there. And it's hard for us to comprehend as human beings what that means. But I thought it very interesting that when you look at a portrait, a picture, how it has so many pieces to it, and we take all the pieces in that picture for granted. In fact, we don't even look at them. We don't care to look at those pictures or those pieces of that picture. We just look at the whole. It's like a puzzle, right? If you open up a box of a puzzle, you have all these pieces in there, right? And your job is to put that puzzle together, because the goal is at the end you have one complete, hopefully beautiful picture. That is our life. That is our life. So every piece of your life, everything that's happening in your life is for a bigger purpose. So I just wanted to share that thought. This is probably the quickest video I've done. And it seems like every time I go to this Walmart, I get like these inspirational ideas to do these videos. But remember that God loves you, that you have a purpose. You are loved. I love you. You know, I believe in you. And I believe everybody has a purpose in this life. Everybody has a gift to contribute. Whatever your gift is, look for that gift. Pray about it. You know, look for that inspiration from God above. He does exist. You know, don't look for God. I'm not going to say don't look for God. Always look for God, whether things are good or bad. What I was going to say was, you know, a lot of people find God when they're at their lowest point. You know, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing. We don't know. You know, I had a conversation with someone. I met someone, a female. And, you know, on the very first conversation, we got on the subject about a higher power, about God, Jesus. And she has a lot of anger towards God because she has been through so much in her life, cancer, all kinds of things. Her mom is a Christian, but she doesn't believe in Jesus. She doesn't believe in the Bible. She thinks it was, you know, there were other books that were similar that were written prior to it. You know, she just has this anger towards God because of the way her life is. You know, and I said to her, listen, here's what I can tell you. I know there's a God. I know that because of my own personal life. I know if you pray for something and you ask for something, if it's in God's will and in His timing, you will get it. I usually get pretty much what I ask for from God. And I don't ask for anything. And I don't mean like $1 million or a Lamborghini, you know, but God will provide for you. My point to you is this. You know, she was insinuating that she just believes in a higher power. You know, she doesn't believe. Her beliefs, she has very distorted beliefs. Here's what I said to her. And this is what I'm going to leave you with. Think about this for a minute. Because there's people out there that are atheists, right? An atheist is a person who does not believe in a higher power. An agnostic is a person who believes that there may be a higher power, but they're not sure. And then you have the believer, and you have different levels of a believer, right? You have some believers who, they say they believe in God. Well, the devil believes in God. That's what I always tell people. The demons believe in God. When they hear the name of God, they tremble, right? And then you have what's called the worshipers. Those are the people that not only believe in God, but they worship God. And then you can take it another level. Then you have the people that actually live what they believe. See, not everybody lives what they believe. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I live everything I believe, because I would be lying to you. See, people want you to believe because they're religious or because they're a Christian or whatever religion they are in, they want you to believe that they live everything they believe, and they don't. It's called sin. Sin. That's why I make the videos I make, because, you know, I talk, you know, I'm getting to the point, but my point is, it just frustrates me when people act like they're saints and they live this perfect, holy life, when they know damn well they don't. They know they have hidden skeletons in their closet. You understand? We're all sinners. We do not, and I'm not judging, I'm making a point. My point is that we are all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. That's the bottom line. You're never going to be good enough for God, ever. What I mean by that is you can never do anything good enough to be favored in the eyes of God, right? So just because, you know, you say all these wonderful things and you believe that you live them, that doesn't, God looks at your heart. What's in your heart? That's what He looks at. So that's my message about that. My point about this girl, okay, is this. I said to her, listen, if you are right about what you say, that we just die and nothing happens, or everybody goes to heaven. I said, if you're right about that, then guess what? Everybody's okay. I said, but if you're wrong, if you are wrong about what you believe, about what you say, when you die, you're going to have a problem. So, in other words, if what she believes about God or her higher power is not true, right? Because we don't know. None of us have died yet to be able to say, hey, I was there, and yes, what I believe was true or wasn't true. We don't know. So why would you take a chance? That's my point. Seek God in all that you do. You understand? Live as righteous as you can. Pray is important, and fellowship with other people who believe. That's my message for today.